Welcome to Phillip Island.
Yeah, it's a great place down here. You can catch fish, you can catch sharks.
You can catch a cold in winter. A tourist destination that has plenty on offer. You've got your Grand Prix track. Wow, MotoGP, 91,000 people converged on the island. And that's the penguin parade. You can basically go and see the penguins come in. There's a bayside area, the surf side, strong currents, submerged objects going a bit off grid. Got to watch out for the wildlife around here. Yo! There's a lot happening in town here. They're basically digging up the main street. The first ever McDonald's. There is a new hotel apparently coming. Losing the moto, it sucks. So I guess the question is, what is Phillip Island going to become? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is the Bozai and welcome to Phillip Island in Victoria. Now, a bit different with this video. I filmed it in two parts. There is a good reason for that too. The first batch of recording I did in late 2025. It was off the back of one of the biggest weekends in the calendar for Phillip Island. It was the weekend after the MotoGP, the Motorcycle Grand Prix, which is massive. That has since been announced to be moving. It's the final year for it in 2026 in Phillip Island, then it moves to Adelaide in South Australia. Check out my Adelaide video and find out more about the buzz that's going on in that city. So there's that. So you will hear me talking about MotoGP and how huge it was at the end of 2025. I'm going to take you through Cape Woolamai, some beach areas. Going to go see the tourist attractions where the penguin parade happens, some of the surf beaches. So we'll jump into that. And then I'll be back to take you through the town, in Cowes, the major town. There is a lot going on right up there. So we're going to go explore it and have a look, and we'll see what's happening. All right, well, let's roll it, guys. Enjoy. Welcome to Phillip Island, 2 hours drive southeast from Melbourne. We're here, November 2025. Sun is shining today. It's a springtime vibe for sure. 27 degrees, beautiful, beautiful weather. There's two ways you can get to Phillip Island from Melbourne. First way, obviously by car, around the Bass Coast Bay Area. And then you can catch the train to Stony Point from the city and then catch a ferry across the bay. So I'll show you guys that as well. That bridge over there is what connects the Phillip Island on the left here to the mainland of Victoria on the right. That is the town of San Remo over there, pretty much the gateway to Phillip Island, but on the mainland. And one road in, one road out situation. So the place can be busy, the place can be quiet, depending on the weather and depending on the time of year. I'm here on a long weekend, so as you can see, there's plenty of people around, mostly locals from Melbourne. I always have a running gag that I don't like it as much when there's too many Melburnians there, but then I have to think to myself, hang on a minute, I am also a Melburnian, so I can't say too much. There's a lot that goes on here. They've got the penguin parade, which we'll talk more about later on. That's probably the major draw card for Phillip Island. You can basically go and see the penguins come in off the rocks. You buy tickets to it. So we'll do a bit of a drive-by on there. Grand Prix track, huge. MotoGP was just last weekend and 91,000 people converged on the island. Yeah, so one road in, one road out situation gets very, very busy. The island itself is situated, there's a bayside area to the north, which kind of looks back at the Mornington Peninsula. And then there's another island called French Island that's an off-grid island. So yeah, we're just gonna venture in. I'm gonna show you some cool parts of town. The main town is Cowes, and that's where you've got most of your pubs and your bars and your restaurants and shopping. And then there's a whole bunch of different places. There's Rhyl, there's New Haven. I'm in Cape Woolamai right now. So this area here is just a nice beachside area. As we look out that way, that's towards the Bass Strait. That is the surf side, kind of around these hills, and over the top of these hills here, you hit the surf beaches. So you kind of got the best of both worlds. You got the bay beaches up there, nice and tranquil for families and chilling out and fishing. And then the mouth of the bay connects out here to the Bass Strait, on this side at least. And then yeah, it gets quite surfy and choppy and all of that. If you're into surfing and everything, that is where you come, you go that way and you have a great time. My old man lives here, so I'm kind of, I would say, semi-local. Oh, just nearly walked into the water with my shoes on, that's pretty silly. So I thought I'd just come along and ask some locals what they think of Phillip Island, totally unsolicited. So hello there, young lady. What do you think of Phillip Island?
Hi, sorry, I'm not camera ready, sorry. Phillip Island, it's lovely, it's great.
This is actually my wife, Belle. I don't go up to
Hi.
people and ask unsolicited opinions on camera because that would be creepy and I'd probably get punched in the face. So, especially if I preface it with young lady. So
Well, I'll take that as
I'm
a
allowed to do it
compliment.
to her though. And there's the old man as well, having fun with his razor hat.
Yeah, it's a great place down here. You can catch fish, you can catch sharks.
You can catch a cold in winter. There's another random old man lying on the beach sleeping. Again, that's actually Belle's dad, my father-in-law. Not going up to random people and just paying them out. I only pay out on family because that's what you do. So, yeah, as I was saying, 27 degrees today. And I made that little quip about catching a cold in winter because it does get quite windy around here, especially in the cooler months, but even during spring and summer, it can get quite cold. I think the forecast for tomorrow is rain and 16, tops of 16. That'll be fun. If I do some more filming tomorrow, you'll probably see the contrast. So we're heading back up now just into the town of Cape Willamette. And this is very indicative of kind of the areas in Phillip Island, some of the older areas. You've got the, the weatherboard, coastal, very coastal vibe style housing. A lot of them are holiday homes. There's a lot of people obviously who rent them out on Airbnb and all that kind of stuff as well. However, lately Victoria has introduced a Airbnb tax on anybody who owns property for that purpose, as well as an existing kind of home. So just an extra tax has kind of been slugged on people. So the market's kind of cooled a bit, the housing market down here, just because a lot of people can't afford or didn't want to pay those added taxes. There's extra land tax for like having investment properties and stuff, which has just only come into effect the last couple of years. So the market was red hot a few years back before COVID, and now it's, starting to cool a little bit, or has been cool for quite some time. Because this is considered a regional part of Victoria, we didn't have the massive lockdowns here that Melbourne had during COVID. Back in 2020, 2021, Melbourne was one of the world's most locked down cities for the longest periods of time as well. And there was actually a ring of steel put in place by the Defence Force at one stage to stop people from getting out of metropolitan Melbourne and into these regional areas like this. So as you can imagine, it got very quiet down here, even though they weren't subject to the same lockout restrictions. This place got super quiet over that period of time. And it did hurt some of the small businesses as well. The place has bounced back, but it's just very seasonal. Some weekends you come down here, there's no one around. And then other weekends, it's crazy. So other places of note, you've got the Phillip Island Chocolate Factory, which we've been to a couple of times. If you like your chocolate, obviously you're gonna go there. Amazing things. Again, more stuff for the kids to do, which is really cool. And then as you get into town, there's mini golf, there's a golf course, there's bowling, there's all that normal stuff as well that you would get anywhere else. All right, now we're in Rill, which my Rill general store here, good burgers apparently. So Dad described Rill as being a very, very big place. As you can see, it's not. You go through the main highway a little bit further into Phillip Island and you take in the sights of the Phillip Island Airport, Surf Beach, Forest Caves, lots of trails and places to go for wanders in. And we've got some big pelicans down here. Yeah, and there's a black swan out there. There's some party boats out there. You don't see that much party boat wildlife out there. That's very rare to see. People on a party boat. Well, here we go. Pelican's taking off. I think he's taking off after the party boat. He wants to get involved, get on the beers. As a famous Victorian Premier once said, yeah, so nice little town area here. So none of the areas around here are that huge. There's a nice big playground over there for the kids. Angling club. You can get some boats, buy some boats. You can bring your boat out here to the wharf here. Hopefully Henry doesn't catch a pelican today. That would not be great. And then some holiday homes up on the hill there with some nice views. There's some bin chickens as well, or the Australian white ibis. But we call them bin chickens because they love getting in the bins. Some seagulls stealing everybody's food and a boat ramp. One of many boat ramps here in Phillip Island. Again, if anybody wants to gift me a boat, I'll take it because I cannot afford. You can scale your fish here too. Clean it all up. That's pretty cool. And somebody has done so. Can you actually see anything in the water? In the bay here, I've seen stingrays. Quite close to the beach side as well. We've seen a ton of toadfish. So yeah, that's real for you. Nice spot. All right, so what a change to the weather. It's the next morning, Monday morning. It's a lot quieter here, but still the long weekend in Phillip Island. And we went from 27-degree day yesterday, very hot, to about, I'm going to say it's about 10 degrees and, as you can see, drizzly. But that's the thing about Phillip Island. Because it is very south, you know, you do get that colder weather most of the time, even in spring and summer. So you get days where it's, you know, like this. You get days where it's everything else in between. A lot of wind from the bay and the Bass Strait areas, obviously. Bit of a wind tunnel. So coming up here on the left-hand side, fans of the TV show would know this, the block. It's now Welcome to LMCT World Phillip Island. So for any fans of the show, there it is. And it doesn't look like there's much going on there at the moment. There's the Western Port Bay, other side Mornington. So on the way to the western side of the island, Ventnor, Nobbies, lots of farmland out here. This is the majority of the island, it's just farms. One shop and real estate agent.
And bottle shop.
I don't think you need ice on a day like today, but anyway. There's not much here, but there's a couple of touristy attractions here. Oh, Swan Lake Guest House. Oh, here we go.
Mountain geese.
Yep. Got to watch out for the wildlife around here. And here's the penguin parade. This is probably the biggest attraction in Phillip Island and one that I have not been to, as you can see by the major, huge car park. They're actually booked out for tonight. And they're booked out most public holidays and school holidays pretty quickly. We'll try and go around the other side. Okay, so here's the bay here. So Mornington Peninsula right across there. This is another area where you can come and sit and have a look at the water. And there's beaches that go all the way around here too. And we're kind of getting closer again to the Bass Strait side. So we're kind of facing southwest-ish, south. It's green. Only takes a day of rain to make it green again. There's a lot of those birds around.
Cape Barren geese.
Yep.
Surf beach.
Now this is kind of in the bay though, isn't it? It's behind the Shelley Beach.
Yeah, just past here is the strait.
More of these geese.
The nobbies.
Look at these geese. You know, obey the road rules, geese. You know, we got things going on here. Yeah, if they could talk back, they'd probably say we're the trespassers of their area. And there's another one up here. Yeah, they don't care. They're like, whatever, man. This is the mouth, right, into the strait.
Yep.
Bass Strait. There you go. And this is the Nobbies. This is the centre out here, is it?
Yeah.
Where that big building up there is. It's an interesting rock that's just sitting in there.
Very calm today.
Yeah. Considering the weather, it looks kind of calm. Get off the road, you goose.
That's why they call it.
Yeah, that's why they call geese. Because they're acting like geese.
That's why idiots.
Okay, we'll go off the road now.
We're going a bit off grid.
Yeah.
So that Bass Strait now, we're coming around the corner. These are all the surf
There's
beaches.
a four-wheel driving now.
Here we go. This is my last New Zealand vid.
Yeah.
Did this last time. Put the window
What's on
down
the
here.
road here? Little pups.
Off you go.
They don't move, do they?
They were pretty chill about moving as well. They were like, yeah, it doesn't look that full on. It doesn't look that choppy today.
It's not, no, the sea is very calm today.
Usually it would be choppy. It's very picturesque though, isn't it? Hey guys. Yo. They're like, I thought you were going to throw something from the car for us, but you didn't. You arsehole.
See, most of them have got tags on.
Yeah. Well, they've all got the tags on, don't they? Oh, what do we do here when the car's stopped? Just tell them to move on? Yeah. This is like the majority of the island. A lot of it is just still quite tranquil and everything, and traffic jam.
We'll get out here, Dad. We can get out here and have a good look.
Yeah. So is this where the shipwreck is down here somewhere? There's a shipwreck somewhere down. Anyway, that's another attraction. So I won't be going down any of those trails today.
What do you mean that?
Well, look, they're just a bit steep for me. As we've seen from previous videos, not good with heights. Yeah, so the beaches just kind of stretch on, don't they? But can you take this all the way around?
Only to the penguin parade.
Oh, to the penguin parade, yeah. And then you'll see more. Geez, there's a lot of them, isn't there? Hey guys. I'll just get out one sec. Let me just. All right, so cool dirt road. I've got to watch where I step here. So ship out that way. Yes, I was saying Spirit of Tasmania goes from, what does it go from Geelong now?
From Geelong now.
From Geelong now. It used to go from Port Melbourne. From Geelong in Port Phillip Bay all the way to Devonport in Tasmania, which is that way. And the strait, you can probably look at some choppy water videos of the Spirit of Tasmania getting through the swells. Not fun. And then down there you've got that. I don't know if you missed, but there's a bit of a big chasm there. So if you're a bit adventurous and you want to go and walk, there's plenty of trails, I'm sure. There's trails everywhere, right? There's always one on the road. Oh yeah, there's some waves out there today.
Yeah,
It's not crazy. So yeah, once we come off this road, I'll see more of the penguin parade.
Roadblock.
Yeah. You really know how to talk to them too. Yeah, get out of the way, you bloody. Yeah. I wonder what they call us.
Geese.
Yeah, geese. Look at that goose in that car with the camera. This is a cool little dirt road, actually. Is that the Pyramid Rock? Is that what they call it? The Pyramid Rock down there?
Down there.
Yeah.
This is the Penguin Parade Beach.
So this is the beach where the penguins walk up. Every night just after dusk, they walk up onto this beach. They've got all their houses in the bushes and they waddle up and they say hi to everybody and they stop for photos and they mingle with the crowds and then they go home. And then they say, we'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, so, and you can see here, this is all the paths that everybody goes and watches them on. And here is where they all sit and watch.
And that's the building.
And that's the Penguin Parade Visitor Centre / area. So yeah, you walk down all those paths just before dusk and you get a good seat. And then you just see them wash up on the beach up here.
And you have to wear 4 jumpers.
Yeah, it gets very cold here at night. Unless it was yesterday, then it was too hot. Yeah, so it's, I mean, they've got a pretty big area down there, don't they? That's a long walk too. Yeah. Oh, another one. Oh. Come on, buddy.
You can't do that.
Got to go the other way.
See that shed, the white shed?
Yeah.
That's where they count every penguin that comes in.
Yeah. That's how they keep track of them too, right? Because you can also see penguins if you're in Melbourne, you can also see penguins in St Kilda.
Yeah.
So next stop, the GP circuit. So what events do they have there? 91,000 last weekend for the MotoGP.
And the year before, 97,000.
97 the year before. And the GP circuit is not open to the public to drive on like the Bathurst one is in New South Wales. You can actually drive on it when there's no races. But this one you can't, so we won't be doing a lap today. We'll go up to the fence and have a look. And we'll peer through the fence. So yeah, you got all this nice tranquil farmland and then you've got the cars booting around here.
Yeah.
Here we go. Phillip Island circuit.
I'll take you in there and drive around.
And they got the visitor centre open. Oh, and they got the go-karts.
Yeah, they got the go-karts.
Some bikes going along there. You kind of see a little bit of the track up the hill there. It's funny, it's like tranquility and then the loud noises of the race cars. Or bikes. Oh, there you go. You see them zooming past the bikes.
That's the grandstand there on the other side.
Yeah. And they've got their own mobile tower. It's handy. I guess you need that for 91,000 people.
Well, for communications too.
So it's not a real hilly track. So this is the back end of the racetrack here, yeah? Yeah, you can see way more of the track here. See how fast they go, hey? Here he goes one. Look at them, they're going fast. Well, duh, Boz, it is a racetrack. It's what it's for. I can already see the comments now. Wow, all right. Let's go back. There's a random guy out, just got out with his camera. Wow. Jeez. Go faster. No, they're going pretty fast. Good on them. That cameraman there's brave too out there. I don't know if we can see him, but he's filming them.
Oh yeah, on the corner there.
On the corner there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. Yeah, that's going to be quite the spot. So this is Smith's Beach, one of the biggest surfing beaches we're coming up to now.
This is Smith's Beach.
Yeah.
And
Pretty sure I just said that, didn't I?
yeah,
Echo?
But this is where the only place that you can park is along this street and a little car park at the end.
Yeah.
And in the summer, there's 1 million people down here.
Yeah, this would get very busy with the surfers coming in here. And then you've got a little bar and beach food. And then you've got island surfboards.
Yes.
And then you've got some surfies with some blonde hair.
Here's the huge car park.
Oh, massive.
Here we go.
Oh, that's a nice house there. Houses up here overlook the Bass Strait. Too far to see the state of Tasmania, but this place stinks. Okay, cool. That's what the graffiti says. So, general warnings. Strong currents, submerged objects, unstable cliffs, slippery surface. I'm just down here. So yeah, so good surfing here. And quite a few people out today considering the weather, which is good to see. And out that way is Pyramid Rock. Do a bit of a panorama down here, but yeah, one of the smaller beaches here, but nice. And then yeah, Tasmania all the way that way. Phil's not going to swim today, he just said. Yeah. Yeah.
Taswegian, but I'd be still swimming.
Yeah. Yeah, he loves Tasmania, but I don't know if you'd love it that much to swim home.
I can do it on the side stroke, but that'd be
Yeah.
a long time.
Okay, fast forward, 2026, April. It's about, well, it's going to be 23 degrees today. And the sun is kind of out. It's a little bit overcast, as we can see. And there is the Stony Point ferry that I was talking about earlier. We'll go over to the wharf and have a look at that in a minute. So basically, the reason for coming back and recording, well, there's two big reasons. I'll play you a little cut of me trying to record in town back in 2025. Here it is. Whoa, okay. That's really starting to come in now. Oh man, this camera is soaked. Sorry about that, guys. So it was pouring down with rain, and look, you know, hasn't rained here for a while. The weather is, as you can see, way much better. So I thought, let's show you the town when it's not pouring down rain. And the other reason is that there's a lot happening in town here. So they're basically digging up the main street. We've got some big controversial things happening in town, such as the first ever McDonald's is in planning for cows, and everybody's up in arms about it. We'll go and check out that site. There's a Dan Murphy's coming, which is a huge, for people who don't know, in Australia is a huge liquor store, but like on a big scale. So there's submissions put in for planning for that. So people are kind of a bit up in arms, and they're a bit concerned about, you know, the appeal of Phillip Island. We will talk more about that very soon. Let's go check out this ferry. So this is the Western Port Ferry that I was telling you about. So this travels, I think, 5 or 6 times a day. This is the bay side of Phillip Island. So we're pointing north at the moment. We're pointing towards Mornington Peninsula over there. So Stony Point is pretty much, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it's pretty much where that bit of land just ends there. So, and then there's French Island just up here. We might go up the pier and I'll show you French Island. So the ferry basically does a little bit of a crisscross. It's like a tri-stop area run by PTV, Public Transport Victoria, and gives you easy access on this side to Phillip Island from the Mornington Peninsula, Melbourne and beyond by boat. No car ferries though, so if you want to drive here, like I've discussed earlier, you do have to go around the bay, kind of up that way. And here's your timetable for anybody who's interested in taking the Stony Point, French Island, Phillip Island ferry. So basically what happens is you get to Stony Point and then there's a train station, a diesel train that takes you to the electrified Metro line, the Frankston line, and then the Frankston line takes you about an hour to get into Melbourne. So French Island, just across here. And it is a Sunday morning, so it's not real busy. Town's back that way. They got a little market starting this morning. And it's a very nice, pleasant area. You can fish off here. Henry's done a lot of fishing. Henry's not here with me today, but he's done a lot of fishing off this wharf. Hasn't caught anything. That's usual for us. And here is the ferry. So we'll go down to the edge of this pier here. There's a couple of fishermen around today. A lot of fishing charters and things like that you can do down here. I've had mixed experiences. I've read reviews of some really, really good ones. So what I would say about fishing charters, if you're going to come down and do fishing and you want to learn how to fish, you can do that down here, but just watch who you go with. You'll read the reviews, just make up your own mind on that. But I have had situations where they haven't really been easy to get a hold of. One charter in particular wasn't very easy to get a hold of, so there's a ferry. Yeah, so basically buyer beware on that one, and go for the more expensive ones and the ones with the good reviews. And I won't name them, but you'll find them. All right, so beautiful morning. So this is Western Port Bay. This is where the calmer stuff happens. This is where the calm beaches are, as you can see. We've shown you Surfside. This is why the island kind of offers everything. And you want to come down to a family-friendly beach with no wind. It gets very windy here. This side is definitely better. However, I have been to a beach down there and been caught in a wild windstorm. There's the North Pier Hotel up there. There's a couple of pubs. North Pier is huge. You've got accommodation there too. And then got your main town up there with all your restaurants and cafes and whatnot. So this is the thing. Phillip Island is changing, particularly Cowes is changing. There are a lot of more upmarket areas. Mornington Peninsula, you've got places like Sorrento and Portsea, which is kind of down that way. We're talking multi-million-dollar homes, holiday homes. We're talking very upmarket hotels, cafes, restaurants. You know, the whole place is wonderfully nice. Like Sorrento, I've been there. The main street of Sorrento, you know, it's like walking down one of the ritziest areas of Melbourne, so say like a Toorak area or something like that. It's where the rich people go and chill out and have their holidays. Now, Phillip Island is not that. Phillip Island is a bit more broad appeal. It's a bit more laid back. It's not fully upmarket expensive. Oh, the market is starting this morning. Plenty going on here. But there is a new hotel apparently coming. I guess they're kind of wanting it to be kind of like the Intercontinental in Sorrento, with, you know, restaurants and all that kind of stuff right in the middle of town. And this is where they're planning on having it. Now, this thing has been in talks and in the works for a very, very long time. Don't quote me on how long because my memory is not that great, but this is the site and this is where we're at with it. So they've made some changes to the roads here and some footpaths, which we'll show a bit more once we get up into town. This is currently what we have here. Huge block. Look at this massive, massive block here. Big hotel complex right off the back of the main street here, Thompson Avenue. So this is where we're at currently. We'll see what happens there. Anzac Memorial there. It was Anzac Day yesterday, actually, time of filming. Big day on the calendar for Australian New Zealanders, commemorating people who fought in wars. So they had the dawn service here. They also have on New Year's Eve, a big fireworks show here, which is actually really good. I've been here a couple of times. Actually, I'll put some pictures up of the last one. But yeah, they blow up the fireworks out on the water there, and it's a really cool day for families and such. This is where we've got even more going on. The street here was a two-way street. Basically, the highway just drops you straight into town here in Thompson. And what they're trying to do is make it more pedestrian friendly. And I think they're pushing out a lot of these businesses out onto the street to give it a bit more buzz. See, in the off seasons, when it gets colder in winter, Phillip Island is very quiet a lot of the weekends. However, when you've got long weekends, it does get very, very busy. All of the businesses around here, to survive, you know, a lot of them kind of try and offer an everything to everyone type situation, which I'll show you more a bit further up this street, what I mean by that. But yeah, look, there's a lot of work going on here. Some of it has been completed. Some of it I don't quite understand what they're doing at this point. I feel like we've got to wait and see. Like here, for example, I'm not sure what this is going to be yet, but as you can see, they've only got one way now for cars. So this is it. This is the main street. This is Thompson Avenue Cows. You've got Ocean Reach Brewery up here, which is good. You've got, obviously, a lot of cafes. The Jolly Lolly Trolley candy shop is a very popular place for the kids, as you can imagine. So one of our first stops when we get here. Yeah, and then now look at this. They've dug up the road. They're digging up the road, as Peppa Pig would say. If you've got kids, you'll understand that. So this was just cars and parking. This is the attempt to slow the traffic coming into town, because when it does get busy, it kind of all just ends up at the bottom of the street here, back at the water. There's not many places you can go, so it does bottleneck quite a lot. And on your busy weekends, especially with 95,000 people at Moto, for example, like the place is smashed. Great for businesses, but also very hard to get around when all of Melbourne basically descends. So there's Ocean Reach Brewing over there. So they had an outdoor area, for example, and they're probably going to get one back. But now, look, I would have liked to have come here when it was done, and maybe I will come back and show you guys in a quicker video next time. But yeah, currently a big work in progress. There's plenty of places to come and eat and drink around here. You got all your supermarkets, etc. I'm going to take you a bit further up. So a lot of the businesses up here post-COVID, they were struggling because there was literally nothing going on here during the pandemic, because Melbourne was locked up. You had a population of 5 million people that couldn't leave the city. So places like this obviously tanked big time, and don't want to get run over. Yes, to help all of these businesses, once everything kind of was slowly returning to normal, a lot of the businesses were given street frontage. And it happened in Melbourne as well. It happened in quite a lot of areas, which was really good, I think, for the vibe and things and the street, kind of atmosphere and stuff like that. And it's kind of turned a few places into kind of everything. So, you can go for breakfast in the morning. You can go there for lunch. You can go there for a fancy dinner. You can go there for a beer. You can go there for a wine. Like a lot of places kind of decided, we're just going to kind of be everything to everyone and offer everything just to maximize potential patronage. To this day, 5 years later, we've still got these in place. This was built quite recently. The local theatre and cinema and library. I think there's an art gallery in there and a museum and everything. You've got the clip and climb back there. You've got quite a few things for children to do here. You've got Grumpy's Golf up here. You've got a whole bunch of adventure stuff and nature walks and things like that, obviously, around this general area. A lot of caravan parks. And as you can see, just a nice country town, coastal vibe, but all very local businesses that you can't really get anywhere else. And this is what we'll talk about more when we discuss the McDonald's situation. All right, so as you can tell here, you've got steakhouse and seafood, you've got a lounge bar, you've got a cafe, you've got lunch, you've got a vintage shop that's also a cafe, you've got back there the Fork and Waffle, which is kind of everything to everyone as well. And then as you get closer up to the Woolworths here, you've got quite an eclectic coffee shop slash craft beer bar. Also, the guy who runs it also gets out on the barbecue and cooks up a storm. Really friendly guys in there too, actually. Star Wars memorabilia inside. So that one over there, Mr. Mods, shout out. I've been there a couple of times and it's really cool. It's kind of like dumping like one of the eclectic areas of Melbourne, say Fitzroy, into the middle of Phillip Island. We get more out of town here. It just becomes a bit more of a general shopping area. So I'm gonna take you up now to where they are planning on putting in a McDonald's. So, 5 years since the pandemic, businesses are slowly getting back on their feet. It's taken a long time. So, the argument is, it's time Phillip Island got a McDonald's. They don't have any fast food here. They don't have KFC currently. They don't have Hungry Jack's. And they definitely don't have a McDonald's. The closest McDonald's currently is on the highway, about 30 minutes that way. So if you want a Big Mac, you're hankering for one and you live on the island, you got to drive 30 minutes to go get that. It's a fair whack for a Big Mac. I like that. It's a fair whack for a Big Mac. Jeez, cleverer than I thought. Not really. Anyway, there's two camps and it's been going crazy on all the notice boards and all the community pages. Do we want a McDonald's in our lovely area of Phillip Island? Especially when all of these other businesses are fighting each other for, you know, sometimes a very small amount of patronage. The argument for would be, it's time the place grew up. They'll make some money here, you know, they'll employ some young kids who live in the area here who don't have lots of, there's Grumpy's Crazy Golf, fun for all the fam. Yeah, so it'll provide some economic improvements to the area. And of course, on the flip side, it's like, it's gonna kill all the businesses that are currently here who have struggled over the years and who have recently just tried to pick up and do everything they can to get people in the door and give them that quintessential Phillip Island experience. It's just gonna take, you know, money from us. And here is the site. So it's around the corner here will be the new McDonald's. So pretty close to town, obviously. I mean, we haven't walked very far. It's been 10-minute walk, not even. And, you know, this Island Kebabs place has been here for ages too. So, right across the road from the IGA. So, right off the main road. So this is where everybody's a bit up in arms. And obviously there's nothing here yet. But this is where they plan on putting it in. So, look, I mean, we've come down here with the kids a lot. You know, we are pretty much kind of quasi-locals here, and I've never needed a McDonald's. I kind of probably don't want a McDonald's because the kids will just always want McDonald's. But yeah, it's a tough one. Some of the comments on the Phillip Island notice board. McF yourself, McF off. Another person, I love this, another smart aleck posted on there one night saying, I could go for a cheeseburger right now. And it just went wild on there. You know, and a lot of people against, you know, on those notice boards. I mean, the general mood is, nah, we don't want it here. Same with the Dan Murphy's just down here near the Woolworths. Apparently that's, you know, a thing too. I guess the question is not necessarily about the McDonald's, but what is Phillip Island going to become in future years? You know, I still think that it's always going to be, you know, a tourist destination that has plenty on offer. You know, you've got your Grand Prix track, you've got, even though you're losing that MotoGP, unfortunately, to Adelaide. Man, Adelaide's taken everything, it seems. But, you know, you've still got superbikes, you've still got all these other events. The Labor government has promised, and I know what governments are like with their promises, but they have promised that they're going to put in something to rival the MotoGP. Anyway, I'm sidetracking a little bit. The Penguin Parade, the chocolate factory, just the nature of it all, the things that you can do, you know, it's always going to be here. But people want to protect that, and I get the people who live here specifically want to protect that. It's a vibe here, and it needs to stay like that, and it needs to be cherished and protected. But there's also an argument for it to become a bit more commercialised, a bit more broad appeal. Anyway, so that's a big thing that's going on at the moment, and watch this space, I guess. We'll see kind of what happens. The island will either change for the better, or it won't change at all, or it'll be for the worse. I understand when things change, locals don't like it. You know, it's why they live in places that they live, because they love them for what they are. And, you know, protecting the businesses that are here, your mum and dad businesses, not your big chains, is important. But then the argument is, well, you've got all the big supermarkets here. You've got Woolworths, you've got Coles, you've got Aldi, you've got, you know, all of that stuff. Why would it be any different with a McDonald's? You've got a Subway here. I don't think anybody was really up in arms about the Subway, to be fair. So anyway, that's that argument. I don't know, tell me in the comments what you think. If there's anybody from the island here, let's chat about it. Let's open the discussion. I don't have the answers. I'm just kind of relaying what is happening on the ground. Either side of this street, it is kind of just widening out the suburban areas, brand new housing areas going in. It is making this area quite a lot bigger, slowly. So yeah, that used to be Gulliver's down there. It's now Salsa Corner. I didn't actually know that. I've seen plenty of businesses come and go as well. So, you know, people make a good go of it and then it either works or it doesn't. Some places have been here for years, like this one, but, you know, the others, they chop and change, of course. So these are the other complaints on the Phillip Island community pages. What are they doing with this street? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? Is it just going to make traffic bad? Is it actually going to provide places for people to enjoy the businesses around outside? Will it create that community vibe that they're looking for? So this is a taste of things to come here. You've got to get your souvenirs. There's quite a bit of Phillip Island stuff here. That one's changed again, Masala Bay. Used to be the Blue Lounge, I think. There's a really nice French restaurant up here, Annery. You've got gelato. You got a lot around here for people to be happy with. Maybe you don't need a McDonald's. Sunday morning market. You can get some knick-knacky stuff down there. I'll say this pub up here has the biggest jumping castle I've ever seen upstairs for kids. So if you're going to go and take your kids somewhere for lunch, a pub's not a bad option. So I guess the question is, will a big hotel coming in just up there, or a McDonald's or a Dan Murphy's, or the loss of a major event like MotoGP, will that change the fabric of the area of Phillip Island? As you can see from the market behind me, there is definitely a quaint lifestyle here. Personally, I still think losing the moto is, it sucks for the area, of course. However, they've lost it once before, they've got it back, they can always get it back one day. That's just the politics of it all. But I think this place has still got a lot going for it and will always have a lot going for it. There's plenty here for everyone. I mean, I haven't been to a racing event at all in the time that I've been here, and there's always been other things. You know, you can go on cruises, you can see the seals, all this kind of different stuff around. So, you know, like, it's just, there is enough here to satisfy. So that it's not like this place is gonna, you know, just fall apart because of one event being lost. And it's probably not gonna fall apart because of one McDonald's coming in either. I think the place is robust enough to be able to offer many things to many people. It's not too far from Melbourne. It's not hard to get to. It's a very pleasant place to bring your kids. It's a pleasant place for older people and everyone in between. So I think it'll be just fine. So that's it. That's Phillip Island, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Oh. Thanks for joining me, guys, and join the conversation and take part. Thanks very much. And we'll see you next time on the Bozai. Enjoy.